This is the second lecture continuing the motivation on Riemann integration. In the last class, we saw how Archimedes applied the technique to find out the area of a circle. Today, we will apply the technique to find the area under a curve. Let us try to apply the same technique to find the area under a given curve and bounded between two ordinates A and B. Okay, so what do? We subdivide this interval A to B into some points, introducing some intermediate points, and in those sub intervals we erect rectangles. So that these rectangles, the height of this rectangle is this much, the functional value at this point. The height of this rectangle is the functional value at this point, okay? And in this way. So what you can see is we have the gray portion we needed to find the area of, and we can actually we have been able to find the area of this brown portion, and by approximating by rectangles. Now you see there are quite a much of area left on top of these brown rectangles. Okay, this portion of area we could not able to measure because this is a curved line. This cannot be taken in the rectangle part. So what did we do? We increased the number of intermediate points. We increased the number of sub intervals there. Now you see the amount of error over here. The brown, what do I say? The gray area remaining on top of this one is reducing from this part. Okay, so here the amount of gray area remaining. So this gray area gives our error, because this gray area is not accounted into. The brown area has been accounted into, but this gray area has not been accounted into, which should have been accounted in, because we need to find the entire area of this one. We need to find the entire area of this one. So here the gray area actually gives me the error part. Now, as we introduce more points, you see the gray area is diminishing. So this is for 10 intervals, you see. Then if we increase even further, so n equal to 15, we get see the gray area is reducing even further. For n equal to 20, this is coming like this. So it is quite small. So as we may guess that, so if we increase the number of intermediate points of subdivision, the area will be approximated by these rectangles, by slimmer and slimmer rectangles. Now, so this is our idea. What we saw in the other one, what Archimedes did with the circle. So by approximating it with triangles, here we are approximating a given area by rectangles. Okay, so now let us mathematicize whatever we have done so far in this part. All right, so what we have done, so basic thing is we need to okay, there is a little problem here. Okay, so what we have done is we have subdivided this entire interval into n small subintervals. So then see, let us do with n equal to 5, and in this case it will be easier to understand. It will be easier to get the numbers correctly. So this is A and this is my B. So how I have subdivided this into 5 subintervals: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, n equal to 5 here. So then, if h is the breadth of one of the h is the breadth of each subinterval over here, then b will be a plus n times h, because this is h and this is a. This point is a plus h, this point is a plus 2h, this is a plus 3h, this point is a plus 4h, and this point is a plus 5h. So b is equals to a plus 5h. 5 is your n. So in general, for n equal to 10, here also you can count. For n equal to 15, here also you can count. So b will be a plus n times h. Therefore, what will be the area of each of these triangles? Let's go back to n equal to 5 once again. So the area will be this area of this area of this rectangle plus this one plus this one plus this one plus this one. So this is our approximated area. I'm not talking about the entire area right now. What is the area of this rectangle? So the breadth is h. This is the height of this rectangle. The height of this rectangle is the functional value at this point A, right? What will be the height of, so this one also has breadth h. So h is common breadth to all the all the rectangles. So what will be the height of this rectangle? So this is f of a plus h at this point. What is the height of the rectangle at this point? This is f of a plus 2h. So this is f of a plus h. This is f of a plus 2h. This is f of a plus 3h. And this is f of a plus 4h. So therefore, the required area will be this h times, h is common to all of them, f of a plus kh. K is running from 0 to n minus 1. So in that case, you saw starting from f a and was going till f of a plus 4h. Okay, so 4 was n minus 1, n was 5 then. So this required area is h times, h is common to all of them, and these are the heights. Heights are from k equal to 0 to n minus 1. So what I'm trying to say is this portion h times k runs from 0 to n minus 1, f of a plus kh, this portion is giving you the approximate area by subdividing the entire interval into n subintervals. Then this part, as you so this sort of a common sense to see that if n increases, these portions of area they come this approximated area, this actually approaches to the actual area. Now the Archimedes and all those people, they understood that. What they did not do is this limit h tends to 0. This limit h tends to 0 is a contribution to mathematics by Newton and Leibniz in the late 17th century, or maybe even later. We are talking about Archimedes, and they are coming from some 500 BC or something. So this part of the formula, the right side of the formula, is almost 2000 years older than this left part. Okay, how did this right hand part work then? By increasing in, and hence by decreasing h. So this sort of they sort of assumed that this would have happened. The engineers or the builders over there by that time, they actually used this technique to get their job done. They did not have a theory of how these things work, but they had a working knowledge, that working concept, that this is how things work. If you take your rectangle slim enough, you will be able to approximate the area with whatever precision you want. So this was their idea, this was their concept. There was no theory there. So the two since we are doing the theory, we are doing in a formal manner. The formalism came via Riemann in the late 18th century, late 18th or 19th century, whatever, I forgot. So Riemann, who actually theorized this entire thing. Before Riemann, this process, this technique was used, but it was not theorized. People did not put a limit h tends to 0 over here. They just did it with like this. Now another point is here, over here, we were approximating the curve from below it. Okay, so we were approximating the curve with some area left behind to be approximated, isn't it? Over here, we were every stage we were approximating the curve from by never exceeding the curve in area. Here some area is left to be calculated, here some area is left to be calculated, here some area is left to be calculated, here also some area is left to be calculated. But of course, at the same time, this can be done in this way as well. Okay, approximating from above like this. So over here also things are getting approximated from the above, and things are the error part is decreasing as n is increasing. So see what I am doing, I am approximating from the above. So I am erecting the rectangle at this, with this height I am considering. Earlier we considered the rectangle at this height, and here so earlier we considered the rectangle with this height, and here we are considering the rectangle with this height. You see, earlier we considered the rectangle at this height, and now we are considering the rectangle at this height. Okay, do you see? Do you see? Okay. So now if we increase our n, or like over here, this extra portion is my error when I am approximating from the top. Now as n increases, this error is decreasing. You see, as n increases, this error is decreasing, both from the bottom and from the above. The area is decreasing as n increases. A plus 2h, this is a plus 3h, this is a plus 4h, and this is a plus 5h. So this one is is starting from 1 and going till n. The earlier one, that these ones were starting from n equal to k equal to 0 and was going till n minus 1. It started from 8 and went till a plus 4h over here. So here this one is starting from 1. This one is starting from 1 and going till 5. So this is the area. This is the approximated area. H times this part. This is the approximated area from the top. And as h tends to 0, this is my sort of formalized area, approximated area. As the limit h tends to 0, this will actually tend to this limit. All right. This one is denoted by this symbol. Nothing to do with integration, nothing to do with differentiation, nothing else. This sum, this approximated area is your integration a to b fx dx. This is the symbol to denote this area. Just forget about differentiation, antiderivative, and all those things. So this is your elongated s. This integration notation comes from s. S stands for summation. There is absolutely no reason that this area, this technique of finding the area, should have anything in common with derivative, anything with common with antiderivative. No, this is sheer incidence of mathematical beauty, nothing else. For example, let us find the area under the function fx equals to x square bounded between the coordinates x equal to 1 and x equal to 2 using the smaller rectangles from the downside. So whatever we have done so far over here, we will just see with a particular formula. We will be taking fx equals to something particular. We will be taking a to b something particular. So fx is my x square, and a is my 1, b is my 2. Fine. So now here let us divide the interval 1 to 2. Okay, do not look at the entire thing once. Walk me through this one. Let us divide the interval 1 to 2 in n equal subintervals. N equal subintervals. So the kth point of subdivision is xk is 1 plus k over n. So this is 1 to 2. This has been divided by into 5 subintervals. So therefore each subinterval is 1 by 5 unit long. This is 1 by 5 unit long, this is 1 by 5 unit, this is 1 by 5 unit long, this is 1 by 5 unit, this is 1 by 5 unit, because the total length is from 1 to 2 is 1. So for n equal subintervals, this will be 1 by n, the length of each subinterval. So therefore the kth point of subdivision will be 1 plus k by n. So this is 1 plus 0 by n. Okay, x0 is a. X1 is 1 plus 1 by n. So this length is 1 by n. So this is 1 plus 1 by n, this point. So this point is 1 plus 2 by n. This point is 1 plus 3 by n, and so on. So xk is equals to 1 plus k by n. K is running from 0, 1, 2 up to n. Okay, so these are my points of subdivision. This is x0, this is x1, this is x2, this is x3, this is x4, this is x5 or xn, and this is equal to b. Okay, so hence for k greater than or equal to 1, the area of the kth rectangle, so this is your first rectangle, is 1 by n. 1 by n is this breadth of the rectangle, width of the rectangle, times f of xk minus 1. This is your height. So for k equal to 1, fx0 is your height. This is your second rectangle. Second rectangle, the height is f of x1. So for the kth rectangle, the area is 1 by n. It is there for every rectangle there. F of x k minus 1. Okay. Hence, the total approximated area is k runs from 0 to n minus 1. That is what we saw in this one. K runs from 0 to n minus 1, where we are approximating from the bottom. So k runs from 0 to n minus 1. 1 by n times f of xk minus 1. So this will be, I'm sorry, this will be k minus, no, oh, k is running from 0 to n minus 1. Here k was running from 1 to n. So here 1 plus k over n whole square. Okay, since k is running from 0 to n minus 1, this is 1 by n, 1 plus k over n whole square. Because fx is equals to x square, this is your f of xk minus 1. So this is your f of xk minus 1. So now as n tends to infinity, we get the required area. So we apply limit n tending to infinity over here. Okay, so this is your h, by the way, 1 by n is your h. As n tends to infinity, we get the required area as limit n tending to infinity, this thing. So this is, I have just broken 1 plus 2 k over n plus k square by n square. Nothing else changed. So this is, now I am adding. So 1 by n is there. Now you add for k runs from 0 to n minus 1. So if you, this is 1, a constant. So you are adding that constant n many times. K runs from 0 to n minus 1. So it starts from 0, goes till n minus 1. So there are n many values of k. You are adding 1 n many times, so that makes you n. Here, 2 by n is constant. K is running, so k is running from 0 to n minus n, and you are adding all those k. So this is the sum of first n minus 1 many natural numbers. So k runs from 0, so 0 does not have any contribution in the sum. So k actually essentially runs from 1. So it is running from 1 to n minus 1. So this is the sum of, so here you have sum of first n minus 1 many natural numbers. That is n into n minus 1 by 2. Here you have sum of squares of first n minus 1 many natural numbers. That is this formula, n into n minus 1 into 2n minus 1 over 6 by n square. So now, now this n you take out, this n you push inside, so you get this n into n, that is this 1 over n times n, that is 1. Then you get this thing. So 2 cancels. This n cancels. This n, if you divide both of n minus 1 by n, then you will get 1 minus 1 by n. Plus this 1 by 6 comes along over here. 1 n cancels over here. 1 n is there. So you have 2 n's in the denominator. And over here, so this is n minus 1 by 1 n, that is 1 minus 1 by n, and 2n minus 1 by another n, so that is 2 minus 1 by n. So this is, then if you take limit n tending to infinity, this 1 by n will go to 0, so you get finally 7 by 3. And you see this 7 by 3 is something what you would be getting if you would have used the antiderivative formula for definite integration. This is our actual area of the curve x square from in the interval 1 to 2.